Hi guys, welcome back to Lost in My Library. My name is Kate. Today I am doing a book review over The Mill by Cailyn Lloyd. I will be transparent about this. So I read an older version of this book, and the version I read, there was a chapter that was changed from the version I read to the version that was actually published. I do appreciate that once I released my review of it, Cailyn Lloyd actually reached out to me in a very professional manner. She didn't discredit anything I said. She just reached out to me and said that there was a new version available. The book had just released that, I think it was that day that I had released that review. Because I tend to put reviews kind of out around, I don't know, it just kind of worked out that way. So, Cailyn reached out to me and was like, hey, this is what, I changed what I wrote, changed chapter, took out the problematic thing, and it's just completely, there's a slight mention, so that's going to be kind of a spoiler, maybe. The chapter in of itself isn't all that necessary, in my personal opinion. I'm sorry, Cailyn. But Cailyn was very professional. She didn't discredit anything that I said or the thoughts I had on this specific chapter. She just let me know that there was a new chapter that was available, and that she changed it for the published version. So there is a review on Goodreads that talks about this specific issue, and to the person, I'm not going to say names, I'm not going to say anything. There is a specific review, and yes, her criticism is, I don't want to actually, sorry, because I don't want to assume genders. Their specific review and the book that they reviewed and their criticism is very valid. Very valid. I do not want to come off saying that what they're saying is wrong. It's just now that the author has now changed that chapter and has taken out that problematic part for the finished product. Yes, that reviewer's review is completely valid for the version that she read, but the author has now changed that. So I would like to point that out for anybody who's looking out at the reviews for this book, and see that massive review talking about this one problematic thing that was in the original version but has since been changed. I don't know if the person who wrote it has knowledge of the fact that there is a new version. I have no idea. So actually my review bumped up from a 3-star to a 4-star because I actually did really enjoy this book, and that one chapter just threw everything for a loop, and I just I don't know if I can give this 4 stars in my heart with that chapter. So what is The Mill about? Let's talk about the actual book. What is The Mill about? The Mill is about our main character, Lily. Lily is a psychic, and she lives in this apartment building that was once an old mill. And she, one day, she can feel ghosts, and she can sense ghosts, and she senses that there is a ghost in one of her neighbors' places, and she wants to try and help the ghost as much as she possibly can. Now, while this is going on, there is a serial killer out on the loose that is living in the apartment building. And now there is a ghost called Emma. Emma is a ghost of the past from when the building was actually a mill. And Emma is basically trying to get this guy caught because she can see everything that he's doing, but since she's a ghost, there's not a whole lot that she can do. But there is Emma or Lily, and Lily believes in ghosts. Obviously, she's a psychic. She's a good psychic, so she believes in ghosts, not a fraud. And Emma and Lily kind of band together because there has been a recent kidnapping in the area of a woman named Danielle. And now it's a race against the clock to try and save Danielle and catch this serial killer and possibly save the goat, get the ghost back. Because Emma, in the process of this, is also wanting to leave the building. She doesn't want to be there anymore. She wants to move on. She's been there for a really long time. So that's the premise of the novel. I really did enjoy the whole story of Lily trying to convince everybody that a ghost is trying to help her catch a serial killer, which to the normal person might just sound wild. The police detective on the case luckily does eventually come around, but it does take a little bit of convincing before they finally kind of move towards that direction. I think it's very quick in them moving towards that direction with Martin, who is the main detective. I think he changes his mind very quickly for a man, but obviously he might also just be a desperate man, because at this point they have found bones in the river that could possibly link back to the serial killer. Obviously the serial killer had killed this other woman, and they're also desperately trying to find Danielle before she possibly gets murdered. Now, trigger warnings for this book. There is some slight graphic depictions of sexual assault. Our main villain is very misogynistic and is just awful human being, and what his thoughts are of women in general. So if you are triggered by that, it's throughout the whole book. Anytime we see him, because this is multiple points of views, so we get points of view of the main killer throughout the book. His name is Chase. It's not a spoiler because we know from the very beginning who it is, because he gets a point of view like the second chapter. So it's not a like whodunit such situation. We know who it is from the very beginning. It's just this game of trying to the other characters figuring out that it is Chase and he is the serial killer of the book. But we are privy to that information from the very beginning. So it's not a spoiler to say it's Chase who is the serial killer. And that's pretty much it. The climax of the story I thought was well done. I like the atmosphere of the old mill. It's spooky enough to be creepy. I love the atmosphere of the mill. I love the main characters, Lily, and there is I'm blanking on her name right now. Olivia is her name. Olivia, who is one of the neighbors that whose apartment is being haunted. I really did enjoy Olivia's character. She is very naive, but I do enjoy her and her husband and their dynamic of the story. So, again, I'm giving this 4 stars. My main reason bumping it down to 3 originally was what I'm about to speak about. This is heading into sort of spoiler territory, so if you would like to click off now, this is ending my non-spoiler review of The Mill. You feel free to click off now. I thank you so much for watching. Go be a good cabbage today. I'll see you next time. Alright, so let's talk about this chapter. It's chapter 69. Nice. So, chapter 69 is a Emma chapter. And as you may remember, she is the ghost. Emma decides at one point, because she's been reading up, she's able to read books, kind of like go into books and like absorb and read books because of her being a ghost. She after reading some psychology books, she decides that she has dissociative identity disorder, DID. And it comes out of nowhere. It really does. Because at this point, she's thinking, the original idea was that the other ghosts were all Emma as well. Because there's 2 other ghosts. No, actually 3 other ghosts. 2 of them, there's a 3rd ghost, but he's chaotic neutral. I absolutely adore the chaotic neutral / chaotic evilness of this ghost. He's not really on either person's side, and it's kind of interesting to see him going around. But the 2 other ghosts that reside in the building, Frank and Tommy, in the original version, she was Frank and Tommy as well. So that threw me off, throwing in a weird twist right at the end that was not necessary, of her having dissociative identity disorder. In the new version, though, she does realize, she ponders it for a second. There is a mention of it, and she's like, wait, I can't possibly have that, and then moves on from there. So, eventually, that twist is not there. She changed it so that the twist is not there anymore. I was just like, this mental health twist is like having the serial killer, where you think there's multiple serial killers, but there's just one because of multiple. Dissociative disorder, dissociative identity disorder. I was like, this ain't it, Chief. We were really coming into 2022 like that. But I appreciate that Cailyn did take on criticism of this. She's actually spoke to a friend of hers who gave her a constructive criticism about this. I think Cailyn has taken this seriously and has rectified it. It is no longer in the published version. Obviously, because I'm a gamer, so games have beta testers, right? And these beta testers come back and be like, hey, this isn't working for me. This should probably be changed. And then it's changed for the final game. Not necessarily their reviews aren't valid. Their reviews of the beta test isn't valid. It's changed for the final game before it's released to the public. So in the same kind of vein, she did change this one chapter before it was finally published. I did actually buy a final copy of The Mill on Kindle to support Cailyn, because I felt that wanted to give some support to her, and you know, I like the book, wanted to support her, so I ended up buying the book on Kindle, and I can confirm that chapter 69 has been changed from the original version, and the DID mental health twist that was originally there is no longer there. So, can confirm it has been changed. But that's it. That's been my review of The Mill. I hope you did enjoy this video, and if you did, leave me a like, comment, and subscribe. Do all those fun YouTube things. Go be a good cabbage today. Do something kind for someone, even if that is for yourself, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.